Good morning, New Jersey! No matter what time it is right now, it's morning somewhere, which means it's time to wake up for safety. We've got a big show today, and even though he's very busy, Eddie Branson, a member of the Environmental Services staff at RWJBarnabas Health, is here to talk to us today. And as always, before we dive in, we've got a trivia question from a viewer. What activity helps keep you healthy, gets you outside, and begins with the fifth letter of the alphabet?
That's an easy one. Because like a lot of people, I have a treadmill covered in laundry and a gym membership that I rarely use. The word is exercise.
That's right.
That was a nice setup, but I'm actually here to talk about a different kind of exercising. This E is really all about exercising your gut. By that I mean your own intuition and gut feeling about whether or not something is safe or aligned with our values.
I'm intrigued. Based on our past guests, it sounds like it's not necessarily difficult to do, but it does require some work and some intentionality. We've heard about how important it is to speak up for safety and accurately communicate and focus on the task. What type of exercising are you referring to?
It's really a combination of all those things. We've designated the letter E to represent our commitment to exercise and accept a questioning attitude.
You're saying people need to not only have a questioning attitude, they also need to accept that questioning attitude from others, encourage it even?
Right. And we're not talking about questioning someone simply because you doubt them personally or think you know better than them. We're talking about critical thinking, curiosity, gut instincts, our internal smoke detector ringing, letting us know when something just doesn't seem right. At RWJBH, we use two tools to do this. 1. Validate and verify. 2. Ask clarifying questions. To validate is an internal check, asking yourself, does this situation or the information make sense with what I know to be true or right? When something doesn't seem right or when you know something isn't right, your internal smoke detector starts ringing. By taking the time to consider the situation, you validate your instinct. We should always be on guard, thinking, does this make sense to me? Does this seem right? Don't ignore that smoke detector. Verify it. To verify is an external check of the information and almost always involves doing something. Asking someone, checking with someone, looking up something, calling someone, or doing whatever you need to do in order to find an independent, qualified source to ensure the situation or information is correct. And not stopping until your internal smoke detector shuts off. You should always verify. Even if you end up being wrong, it was the right thing to do.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, Eddie, but you actually brought a clip of yourself with some good teachable moments? Brave.
Yeah, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to be. And if sharing this helps someone else, totally worth it. Also, this is from a while ago, so my hair is kind of crazy, but you're not supposed to pay attention to my hair anyway. I went into a patient room to empty the garbage and noticed a bottle of aspirin on the tray. It was pretty obvious that it wasn't something we gave the patient because of the label, but for all I knew, it was something the family member was taking. But my internal smoke detector was going off. It was time to verify.
Hi, Eddie. What's up?
I have a concern about the patient in 110B, as in Bravo. Looks like they took some aspirin that was brought in from home, and I know that can be a big no-no sometimes.
Okay, I'll go check right away. Thanks, Eddie.
Cool. When it comes to verifying a situation, what are some examples of qualified sources you might rely on to verify information?
Policies, procedures, job aids posters, clinical protocols and guidelines of care, reference manuals, expert individuals, and chain of command. In some situations, it's even appropriate to verify with the patient or their family because they have historical reference we aren't aware of. If a doctor saw a patient's face looking like it may be drooping, sign of a stroke, she might verify with the family and say, does he look different to you? Before taking action.
Validate is looking into the reasons why your smoke alarm is ringing. Verify is looking for proof that your alarm is ringing for a valid reason. It may feel uncomfortable to ask about something you think you should already know, but think about how you'd feel if you don't ask and make a mistake. Thankfully, it seems like that nurse made sure you knew you were in a safe and welcoming place for asking questions if you had concerns.
Yep, That's because we know we're on the same team, so we make a point to interact thoughtfully and reduce power distance.
It isn't always that easy, right? It seems like verifying usually involves actually asking questions, which can be difficult, or at least feel difficult when we worry about challenging authority, or we feel like it's something we should know.
Yep, and that's why we have our next tool, asking clarifying questions. If you just ask questions directly, it can sound like you're challenging the person or their knowledge, when in reality, you just want to better understand the situation and prevent harm. And that's why framing our inquiries as clarifying questions is so important. By saying, "Let me ask a clarifying question," you're letting them know that your need for understanding is in the interest of the patient or team member. People then are much more receptive of the questioning attitude. It lets people know your motives, that they're external and related to the greater good.
So clarifying questions can be asked by a sender or by a receiver of information or instructions.
That's right. You don't always have to ask clarifying questions, only when you're unclear, in high-risk situations, when information is incomplete, when information is ambiguous or not clear. Studies have shown that asking clarifying questions can reduce the risk of making an error by 2.5 times. And since our goal is 0 events of harm, we need to do whatever we can to get there.
That's a lot of great info, Eddie. It seems like it boils down to a few things. 1. Following and trusting your instincts. 2. Seeing those instincts through to a safe resolution. And 3, and this one might be the hardest part because of our egos, accepting the questioning attitude of others.
Right. It only really works when we all operate from the mindset that we are collectively here in the best interest of each other and the patients. When we're challenged to verify or we're asked a clarifying question, as soon as we feel ourselves getting defensive, we have to remember that even if it feels like it's about us, it is not about us being wrong. It's about doing whatever we can in order to do the right thing for our patients and fellow team members.
Excellent edification, Eddie. That's all for today's episode of Wake Up for Safety. Thanks, Eddie.
The coffee is strong, the sun is getting high. Let's wake up for SAFETY.
Eddie did a great job of pulling it all together and showed that no matter our role, we are all expected to embrace that questioning attitude and be on the alert for our internal smoke detector. And later in the show, we'll do a viewer vote to decide which of Eddie's haircuts people like better.